Mañana Nomás family, how are you? Welcome to Friday morning. Friday morning here. Now, for some folks, it's 9:30 in the morning, and for other people, they're still waking up at 6:30 in the morning, right? But that's the way time works. So, I wanted to kind of jump in this morning. Oh my goodness, I just feel fired up. I got up early with my wife. She gets up, she goes to work really, really early before the sun's up, so it's dark outside. And I got up with her this morning. I had my first cup of coffee, the magic juice right here. And I got to tell you, folks, I want to come at it like I have someone that I do business with, and they always say, "Oh, Kurt, you're so diplomatic. Oh, Kurt, you're so this, you're so that." Like from the nice perspective. And I want to take you back in time just a little bit. In fact, I'm gonna shut this window here because it looks like that sunshine's killing everybody. Um, I want to take you back in time just a moment when Mañana Nomás started. You see, my wife and I met in Denver. We bought a house in Denver at the top of the market. And immediately after we bought the house, that .com bust happened, and everybody that was in our area that worked in the tech industry was unemployed. And then 90 houses in our little subdivision went on the market like that month, drove all the prices down, right? So kind of like the opposite of what you're seeing now, right? We said, oh, it's a seller's market. It's a seller's market. No, no, no. Right after we bought our first house, it was a buyer's market, and it drove the values down. And we had one of those really fancy things that a lot of young people were doing at the time. We had an adjustable rate mortgage. And I'm going to tell you, it just kept going up and going up, going up. The house had no value. We couldn't refinance. We were upside down. Unemployment was rampant. I was in the automotive industry. Nobody was servicing their vehicles. Nobody was taking. If you remember, but think. You got to put yourself back in that space. People were buying new cars and financing new cars, people that could still get credit. And then they would have an accident. They would take the check from the insurance company and pay their bills and never fix the car. Do you remember seeing all those dented cars rolling around back then? Like a 2 or a 3-year-old car, just dented and mangled. People trying to sell their cars, being like, oh, it's just got a little front end damage. Folks, that was craziness. That was craziness. Now, in the middle of all of that craziness, in the middle of all of that foolishness, we decided to move. We said, oh, it just must be here. So we escaped Denver. We got down to Albuquerque, and I got a job back in the car business, and I was making more money again. And I was like, okay, we're back. We're back. Things are going. We're going to catch up. We're going to get ahead. And what happened? The economic crash of 2007 and 8 just came right along, right behind what we had just escaped, and we went through it again. Now, in the middle of all of that, I was able to grow Mañana Nomás. In the middle of all of that, I was able to go, wait a minute. I got to do something different. I got to see, there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way. I had just published that book, Service Writing in Black and White, 20 years in the car business. I didn't really like the job that much, but I was good at it. So I wrote a book on it, and I wrote that book, and then I launched my agency, and I started making websites for startups. And I'm like, I just gotta get out of the space we're in, because the space we're in is not providing. And that's where I'm at. I'm trying to come up with a way to communicate this message to people out there, like, stay in the path. Sometimes when you stay the path, it's not working. It's not working. And so I'm seeing a lot of people freaking out. I'm going to change the graphic at the top here. I'm going to go back to the thumbnail that we had for this video. I kind of like this thumbnail. I had a lot of fun with it today. Anarchy. So that A in the circle, that's the sign for anarchy, right? And so I just look at the ticker at the bottom, right? People are on social media, on LinkedIn. They're talking about shutdowns. They're talking about tariffs. They're talking about layoffs. They're talking about all kinds of things. But here's the thing. As much as it sucks, you got to pull yourself out. Why is my phone going crazy this morning? It can suck, but you got to get moving. You got to come up with something. And so I had this phrase that I would say back in the day. I would say, well, I got tired of looking for a job, so I invented one. I got tired of looking for a job, so I invented one. And people were like, oh, and I didn't even realize this was happening in the background. My wife finally disclosed this to me, that in the background, as I had left the car industry and started to launch Mañana No Mas as its own agency, people said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I guess I'm going to make websites. I'm going to do some digital marketing. I'm going to help people launch some businesses. I'm going to encourage people that if they can't find a job, they can invent a job. And I want to inspire people to become self-employed. Now, I know full well self-employment for some people is not the goal. I know that. I know that self-employment is not a goal for a lot of people. It takes a certain mental capacity to say, oh, I want to work for myself and to pull it off. I get that. But here's the deal. How long have we heard you have to brand yourself? You have to have personal branding. You have to, because jobs aren't what they used to be. People aren't lining up and saying, oh, I want to give you a job for the next 25, 30, 40 years. You're going to get a gold watch and a 401k when you're done. That's just not real. It's not real anymore. And I think about how we're raising our kids and what we're bringing up out there and the position we put them in. When I speak at the schools and I have a classroom full of kids in front of me and I'm doing one of my talks for Mañana No Mas, and I'm looking at the kids and I go, by a show of hands, how many of you know exactly what you're going to do when you get out of school? They don't. How many of you are going in this direction? They say, okay, I'm going in that direction. I say, like, how many of you are going to go to college to do this, this, and this? Hands will go up and I'll say, great. Now, out of the people that raise their hands, can you tell me what that looks like? When you graduate school and you get a job doing that, what do you think you'll be doing every day? What do you think that looks and feels and smells and tastes like? Like you're going to school for this. What do you think it's going to be like to do this? And you know what's funny? They can't answer the question. They don't know. They don't know. They've been conditioned through the system to think that, oh, this is the thing to go do. But when I say, what does that look like day to day to do that? They go, I don't know. Like, for instance, my kid says, oh, I want to be in automotive auto body. Okay. I don't know where that came from, but he's like, I want to work in automotive. I want to do auto body work. I want to do welding and putty and sanding and painting. And I like cars. And I think that's what I want to do. Okay, great. So he starts taking a class in school. Great. I'm all in. Have a plan. I don't care what the plan is. Have a plan. But you know what I did next? I contacted the best body shop in town. And I introduced myself to the owner of the best body shop in town. And I said, my kid's going to school to be an automotive auto body technician when he gets out of school. And man, I would love it. I would love it if I could bring him by and just give him a tour of the facility, have him meet you, and see what it would look like to work for a day inside an automotive auto body shop. Boom. So I'm over there. We're talking to the owner. This guy, he doesn't just give the kid a 10 or 15-minute tour. He spends like 3 hours with the kid. This is where we take the cars apart. This is where we put the cars together. This is where we do this. This is where we do that. This is where we mix the paint. This is where we spray the paint. This is where the guys have lunch. Oh, they're having lunch right now. You want to meet some of the fellas? Folks, that was amazing. And now here we are. The kid's got half a year of school left before he graduates high school, and he's already got a job offer to go to that shop with a job. You have to get moving. Like I say in the thumbnail, right there. Like I say, get inspired and produce something. Get inspired and produce something. I want to take you back in time. Go back to the pandemic. You see, we're all upset about government shutdowns. We're all upset. Oh, the government shut down. The government's still going to send your Medicaid check, your Medicare check, your Social Security. All of that is still happening. When you take a look at what actually gets shut down in the government with a government shutdown, to most of us civilians that aren't in the government, pocketbook, to most of us, we go, so what? So what? Why are we paying so much for these things? Why is the government so ineffective with our money? If I spent money in my home doing things the way the government spends money out there doing things, I wouldn't have a home anymore. And so I think it's okay. I think it's really okay to go, you know what? There's still a fire department. There's still a police department. There's still law enforcement. There's uh, necessities. People are still going to get their social security checks. Like, people are freaking out. Look, the government shut down. Oh my God. So what? So what if the government shuts down? Let it shut down. Let us save some money for a change. Let us actually take stock of what we need versus what we don't need. What kind of a budget does it actually take to run something and have a positive effect in a community rather than just continuing to throw money at it? Because we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. Now, I want to take you back. I want to take you back in time because I have a feeling that the way I'm communicating is not making sense. When it wasn't a government shutdown, when it was a society shutdown during the pandemic, who took care of you? Nobody took care of you. Some people are going to say, oh, they sent us those stimulus checks. Well, if I had a job making $10,000 a month and then they sent me 2 stimulus checks for $1,200 each, how was that taking care of me? Nobody was taking care of me. Nobody was taking care of most of my neighbors, right? And then people that had essential jobs got to go out and do essential jobs. I want you to think about this. We're all upset because people can't agree on how to spend our money. And so, yeah, there's a government shutdown. I got a news flash for you. I don't want to pay for health care for illegal aliens either. I don't want to do it. Nobody pays for the health care in my home. So why is my tax dollar paying for health care for someone else's home? It doesn't make any sense. It defies all logic. And so, yeah, the people running the government, they have a disagreement. It's a good way to say that. They have a disagreement, and there's a government shutdown. And unnecessary. I want you to think about this. Unessential. Remember the pandemic when you were considered essential or non-essential? Do you remember the pandemic when you were told you're not really required for society? Newsflash, that's what's going to happen to government employees. Government employees that make on average 40% more than non-government employees are being told whether they're essential or non-essential. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. You know what happens in a downturn like this? This is where I'm going to go with the same thing I said during the pandemic. You got to find an opportunity within the obstacle. Find an opportunity within the obstacle. Very simple. Very, very simple. Like I said, during the economic shutdown, 2007, 2008, Mañana No Mas was born. I grew that during the height of the recession to a company that was serving 75, 80 different clients. We were doing social media campaigns, launching new websites. We gained Ducati North America as one of our best customers, and in the end, took a full-time position with Ducati North America because I love motorcycles and I wanted to be involved at a high level inside the original equipment manufacturer, inside the OEM. So I want you to think about that. When we see things about the tariffs, there are people in my industry. I still call it my industry. I can't help it. In power sports, in marine, people are up in arms, right? The tariffs, the tariffs, the tariffs. And I understand that I have friends from all spans of political disagreement. And I said it that way on purpose. I have friends, people that I love, that I care about, from all different spans of political disagreement. Like, I'm still friends with people I horribly disagree with about policy. You know what? That used to be normal. That used to be normal in the 60s and 70s and even the 80s. That used to be completely normal, that you could respect somebody as a person and still disagree with kind of what they were thinking or voting for, right? But you got to know each other. And that common human experience gave you a better idea of why they might think that way, why someone might have an opinion that's different than yours, okay? But I want to drive this back to tariffs and all these things. People are up in arms about it. Like in the motorcycle industry, it's a big, big deal. Everything that these dealerships sell, everything that these parts distribution warehouses sell is coming from other countries. It's coming from Italy. It's coming from Taiwan, from India, from China, from Japan. All this stuff was coming in. And even the people that say, oh, it's an American company. Newsflash, it's not an American company. It might be an American company with an American name and an office in America, but the ECU is probably coming from Japan, Korea, Taiwan. The fork set is probably coming from Italy or Austria. It's the stuff is coming in from everywhere else. And then maybe it's getting assembled in America, right? But they're still looking at tariffs for like shock absorbers and forks and things like that. And they're upset. And I get it. I get that they're upset. But you know what? Instead of being upset, instead of being thinking that the whole world is out against you, buckle down, get inspired, and produce something. Get inspired, change direction. Maybe you want to machine something up yourself. Maybe you want to invest in training internally in your company. Maybe you want to get into production for hard goods. Maybe you say, you know what? If the tariffs are going to inflate the costs of all the new products, maybe we expand our capacity to repair the pre-existing products. Maybe we go into restoration. Maybe we rehabilitate some barn finds. Maybe, right? Like, you got to get out of the box and you got to find other solutions. And it's the people that get inspired and produce something through adversity that rise to the top. People ask me a lot. They'll say, Mañana no Mas, it just seems to have come out of nowhere. That's the funny part. There's people especially in the WordPress space, because we do a lot of WordPress work. I'm on like 5 different podcasts a week. I make these lives. I'm constantly coming up with some kind of a message. And there's a lot of folks that'll say, oh, Mañana no Mas, it just kind of popped up out of nowhere, right? Popped up out of nowhere. I'm the best overnight success you never heard about, right? Folks, I founded Mañana no Mas at the end of 2007, beginning of 2008. And before that, it was called it wasn't called Mañana no Mas. It was called Von Ahnen Designs and PR. So Von Ahnen Designs and PR started in like 2005, 2006. Legitimately 2006, after we moved to Albuquerque. I started working and building websites in 2000. So I started working online, tinkering in 2000. I did a couple of projects and a couple of nonprofits and a couple of things like that, 2003, 2004. 2005, we started hitting it really hard financially in Colorado. Wasn't good. Car business was really, really down, right? And so I started doing home inspections. And so I started switch gears, right? I just talked about that. Find opportunity. People were still able to buy a house. So I was like, you know what? Someone's got to inspect these houses. So I started doing some home inspections. I started a home inspection company, started inspecting houses. I'll be honest, I wasn't that good at it. So started looking for other options, went back to doing some more web work. Then we escaped, got down to Albuquerque. I got another job in the car business, got the funding back. But in the background, I was like, you know, with my off time, instead of watching TV and zooming out on, like, that's when we were still renting movies from like, what was it? Not Blockbuster. I think Blockbuster was already closed by then. I think that's when we switched to Netflix. Anyway, doesn't matter. Instead of renting movies and hanging out and vegging out all the time, I was learning. How do we code websites? How does Dreamweaver work? What is HTML? What does custom CSS look like? Then I say, hey, what's this WordPress thing? WordPress came out in 2003, 2004. My username for WordPress is from 2004. I was right there in the very beginning of it, early adopter, right? Boom, boom, boom. Always looking to change the channel. Where's the opportunity at? I've always been focused on this. In times of obstacles, there's always opportunity. And it's the people that leverage the opportunity that rise to the top. Now, it wasn't overnight. Obviously, it wasn't overnight, because I'm telling you stories from 2007, 2008, and now it's 2025. So obviously, it wasn't an overnight success. But what I'm here to say is every time that there is a gap in, I want to call it opulence almost, right? I almost want to say, like, because here in America, people get upset if they can't have every little thing they want, right? So it's like whenever there's a gap in this American opulence, people hit the panic button. The tariffs are not shutting down our society. The government shutdown is not shutting down our society. These are obstacles. These are obstacles, but it's not shutting down our society. The pandemic shut down our society. And I still believe that that whole thing was just a mismanaged, orchestrated mess. I really, really, really still have some. I really still have some feelings about the pandemic. Okay, but what we're seeing now is a speed bump, a blip. Some government people that have been making 40% more than you anyway, going to get laid off for a little while, going to have a shutdown, going to take a few days off, maybe a month, maybe 6 months. Maybe we're actually going to shut some stuff down. I have no problem whatsoever if 20%, 30% of these government subsidized programs actually get shut down. And you know what? A lot of you are going to say, but Kurt, all those people, it's going to flood the job market. Well, the job market already sucks. I've been telling people for years, do not trust the job market. Do not trust corporate. If you find a job that's a perfect fit for you and you love it and it's your dream and that's what you want to do in the here and the now, go ahead and do it. But the idea that you're going to get a job and stay there for 25, 30 years, get a gold watch and retire, that's gone. That's been gone. I'm not saying anything new. And that's why I come to people and I say, instead of looking for a job, invent a job. What skills have you acquired over the years and how could you lend yourself to people under contract? How could you lend yourself to people as a consultant? How could you guide other people in the skills that you've already acquired? And for folks that are in my age range, this is the perfect time. Hang your tile, you're a consultant, hit the pavement and sell your services to people. Because here's what people don't understand, okay? For instance, I'm going to give you a real for instance. When I worked at Suzuki, Suzuki would rather have hired an external expert to do something under contract than hire and increase the headcount internally at the company. Happens a lot. There's a lot of companies that would rather hire an external contracted person to do something than hire internally and go through HR and increase the headcount. Remember, when someone increases headcount at the corporate level, there's HR expense, onboarding, insurance, unemployment. What do they call that? You get hurt on the job. Can't remember the thing's called again. Anyway, there's all these fees and expenses. That's why when you're a consultant, let's say that you normally would take a job and you take that job for $22 an hour. When you're a consultant, you're going to bill that same work out at $65, $70 an hour. Why? You have to pay your own health insurance. That's just one thing out of the chute, right? You're going to pay your own health insurance. But now, instead of doing that job for one client at $75 an hour, you go out and get 3 clients, 4 clients, 5 clients at $75 an hour, $150 an hour, $200 an hour. It just depends on what value you bring to the client and how you can justify that rate. I got news for you. There are times that I will go and I will consult with a motorcycle dealership in person at their location. It's $2,500 a day plus travel. $2,500 a day plus travel. You might be watching this and say, Kurt's crazy. That's a lot of money. I'm here to tell you, I'm undercharging. People that have me visit their dealership and spend 3-4 days at their dealership are going to spend, what, $10,000? And you might think, oh my God, $10,000 for a week's work, that's crazy. It's not crazy. Because if I spend that long at your dealership and we can increase your parts and labor sales by 52, 56%, and you were doing $1 million in parts and labor sale last year, and that means you're going to do $1.5, $1.6 million in labor sales this year, that means that $500,000, $600,000 in extra revenue cost you 10 grand in training. That's a dang good investment. That's a dang good investment. And that's what I'm talking about. You're selling yourself based on the value you bring to the table instead of what someone else thinks you're worth for a day of your life. Folks, I'm going to be real honest with you. I have learned from the School of Hard Knocks. I'm not college educated. I read a lot. I study a lot. I get into scripture a lot. I try to keep myself well rounded in my ideas. But over the years, I have been kicked and beaten. And sometimes I'm like, is it me? What am I supposed to learn, God? What was I supposed to learn? And now here I am in what I consider the prime of my life. I'm 58 years old. When I was young, I never thought I'd get to be 58. And now I'm wondering what I'm going to do with the next 35, 40 years. Here's what I've learned. I've learned that when the chips are down, there's always an opportunity to be found. You just have to pull your head up, sit in a quiet space, and take stock. What are my strengths? What are my skills? What are my interests? Who would I like to help? I think that who would I like to help should be at the top. Because once you get committed to who you can help, then you say, well, okay, who can I help? What are my skills? What is the value? What good I bring to the table? And then you start to realize I have a lifetime of experience, and I can share that experience with an exponential number of people and increase value over and over and over again. And guess what? That value also equals a dollar amount. I can sell that. So when I help people launch, let's talk from speaker, author, coach perspective. We're not talking about things that require an inventory or a warehouse, right? I'm not talking about things that require capitalization and financing. I'm talking about things that just require your brain. Write a book. People go, oh my God, I could never write a book. Writing a book's not that hard, especially with some of the AI tools out right now. So write a book. You don't have to get it published by a giant publishing house. You can self-publish that sucker. You can put it out as a PDF, load it up to Amazon, sell it for $3.99 as an ebook, and you're a published author. Okay, so now you're a published author. Now what do you do? Make a website. I got a book. You can buy the book over at Amazon. Here's the link. Here's why I think the book is important. And you put all that into a website. Now, does the book teach people how to do anything? Does the book give people information on how to improve or build or do something? Awesome. Now, take that book and take that original outline of that book and think to yourself, how could I convert that information into an online course? Work with me here. Don't listen to the hype on social media. Don't be thinking it's easy and it's passive income and you're going to make a gazillion dollars, because chances are that's not going to happen. But here's what is going to happen. You create the book, you create the website, then you think I can build a course. So then you get with somebody like me if you don't want to do it yourself, and we build a learning management system into your website. We put that in there. Now, you don't even have to put it in the front end of the website yet. You're in the back end building it privately, all by yourself. No pressure. And you're like, I'm going to put in my outline. I'm going to expand my outline, make it into lessons. I'm going to make a couple of videos. I'm going to make a couple of pictures in Canva or something like that. Boom. And then you look through it and you go, okay, well, now I'm going to add a knowledge check and a test at the bottom, and we'll add a certificate. Boom. All of a sudden, you got a full-blown LMS. You're ready to go. So we move that from the back end of the site to the front end of the site, which just means people on the website can now access the course. So you sell the course. You hook it up to a payment gateway. You start selling the course. Now you're selling ebooks through Amazon, through your link. Maybe you're getting $4, $5 per copy of that. You start leveraging that into the course and you say, hey, you can take this course for $50. You can take this course for $100, whatever. You start getting 15, 20, 30, 40 people in there. Okay. Once that happens, then you go, oh, you know what? We got a little bit of energy here. We got a little bit moving. This is going good. What do we do next? Here's what you do next. You start doing live shows on, like what I'm doing here. I'm doing a live with you right now. You open up a Zoom account or a Rumble account, and you start doing lives. You start talking about your book, your website, your course, and your students and how your students are doing through your course. Folks, I'm just laying this out for you. Some people come to this and they go, this is intimidating, or this is too much, or I don't want to be a webmaster. I just have this knowledge. Great. Hire us. Mañana no más. This is what we do. We help people launch. We give people No matter what your budget is, you could have a startup budget, right? A startup budget, very small. We say, great, let's launch this. Let's launch this 5-page brochure website. Let me show you how to publish your first book. And then when you're ready, you say, I want to add the learning management system. Great. We can add that for you. We can help you set up your course. We can even help you promote. We can help do local SEO if you're local. We can help do like long tail SEO. SEO is search engine optimization. It's what helps people on the internet find your product. But like I said, I've been doing this since 2000. So I'm 25 years in on digital marketing and websites and all this stuff. And I'm here to tell you this stuff that I'm seeing, like, oh, you just need a mobile application. You don't need to sell. You don't need to launch. You don't need, it just magically happens, right? Make an app, put your stuff in there and make $50,000 a week. When I see those ads, I want to puke, because that is not true. None of that is true. It takes work. It takes hard work. It takes strategy. But you know what it also takes? It takes people that go through this junk at the top. The people that over here, right? If you're dealing with shutdowns and you're dealing with tariffs and you're dealing with layoffs and you're getting frustrated and you're running out of options, instead of curling up under your desk and crying boo-hoo and complaining on social media, I need you to get inspired. I need you to get inspired. I need you to start producing something. And then I need you to reach out to somebody like me, someone like Mañana No Mas, to go, you know what? I got this idea. I got this. I got that. I got a little bit in my 401k, or I got a little bit in my savings. I still have a job, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose my job soon. Like, whatever the situation is, just get in touch with us. If you go to mañananomas.com, click the link at the top, schedule an introductory call, and we'll go from there. In fact, one of the things I'm going to try and do right now, let's see if we can do this live and on the air. Let's see if we can do this. So I have, let's see if it'll pull up. We're going to start a screen share. We're going to go to the home page. And now I'm doing a screen share, I think, of the Mañana No Mas website. So right here, schedule a discovery call. Let's get together. Let's have a quick chat. This gets you 30 minutes with me for free. 30 minutes with me for free. Schedule a discovery call. Now see where it says what we do? So we have a whole list of our services. We do training, right? So we do training. We do public speaking. We do these things. But we also have a website subscription service. We develop websites for large enterprises. We have a thing we call the easy button. We even have AI services where we verify AI code that maybe someone, vibe coded in artificial intelligence. They want to use it. Like people are like, oh, I vibe coded my own plugin. I just want to put it in my website. That's a bad idea. That's a really bad idea. What you need to do is have a professional kind of audit that code, make sure it doesn't have any malware in it. And then you want to put it in a staging site to make sure that it actually works. And then when you verify all of that, you want to put it in your production website. So we do that for people. But let's take a look at website subscription services. I just want to give you an idea. When I say it's budget minded, I just want to give you an idea of where we're at. So a new website with zero out of pocket. What did I say? I said a new website with zero out of pocket. All you got to do is subscribe. So no setup fees, no WordPress setup knowledge required. I'm not asking you to be a webmaster, none of that. Here's what we do. We set up the website for you and we put in some basic tools. It's a basic website, but it's not like some single page AI website that looks like it's not formatted well and it's goofy. It's a real website with real format and real content that matches your project. So, but here's where we don't leave you hanging. I create the first draft for you using artificial intelligence. We take some information from you, maybe some pictures from you, and we generate the first draft of the website using artificial intelligence. After that, we give you training and support so that you know how to change some of the words and the pictures and things like that. Okay? Now, if you're like, I don't want to do all that, we can do that for you for an extra fee. That's not a problem. But my point is, we get you launched with a real honest to goodness website. We host it for you and you're good to go. Look at this. It's $200 a month. That's it. $200 a month. You don't have to buy any software. You don't have to worry about the hosting. You have to be a genius to set up WordPress or any extra plugins or any of that nonsense. We set it up for you. We build you your first draft of your website and you launch. You are ready to go. And so it's hosting included. Your WordPress is set up. We put in a premium theme, and we give you that AI content right up front. Okay. Remember I said maybe you want a learning package. Maybe you want to add a learning management system to the website. That just bumps you up to $225 per month. Now, here's the deal. With Mañana No Mas, if you look at the terms and conditions, you're going to see some funny things in here. And that is because we're ethical and we don't believe in ripping people off. A lot of companies, a lot of SaaS platforms, like I'll call out Kajabi. Kajabi's going to charge you $250 a month for the rest of your life. Podia is, Podia is going to charge you every month for the rest of your life at those rates. I don't believe in doing all that. So what I like to do is I put people in, and you got to pay me the $200 a month for 12 months. $200 a month for 12 months. When you pay on time every month for 12 months, at the end of the 12 months, we circle the wagons. We have a meeting and we go, hey, are you happy with the hosting? Are you happy with the maintenance? Are you happy with the service? If it's 3 yeses, we go, great. We'd love for you to stay with us, and we can give you an extension contract where you're not paying us $200 a month anymore. Maybe you're paying $80 a month because all you're paying for is the hosting and the maintenance. You're not paying for a bunch of weird stuff. But maybe at the end of the 12 months, you say, you know what, I really want to expand things, and I want to have a community site, and I want to be able to take appointments, and I want to be able to this, and I want to be able to that, and there's all these things you want to do. Well, then we say, okay, great. You can stay at $200 a month. And over the next 3 or 4 months, we're going to add all these tools and we'll give you the training on how it works. Maybe there's that. Maybe you say, you know what? I'm kind of done here, Kurt. I want to take the site and move it to another host. Great. Great. We'll help you migrate to another host. You've made your obligation, the 12 months at $200 a month. You don't owe us anything. You can take the site. You own it. You own the website. You can copy it and put it wherever you want, right? But we're trying to make it easy for people to get started. So we used to charge $2,500, $3,000, whatever it was, to start the website, and then just like $80 a month for maintenance and hosting. And I thought there's too many people out there doing this, website as a service thing. There's too many people out there leveraging SaaS platforms where you don't have ownership, where you don't get to keep the data out of your website, right? That are $250, $300, $400, $500 a month. And I can do all this on our platform where you have ownership of it. And when you're done, you can download it and you can put it wherever you want. And you don't have to spend an exorbitant amount of money. So we've worked really, really hard to come up with the right tools, the right processes, and the right policies to get people launched. Zero out of pocket to start up. You sign the contract for $200 a month. And you're ready to go. All right. I can't stress enough. I see people wigging out. I'm on LinkedIn almost every day. And almost every day I'm seeing somebody say, there's a guy who just got a job. He put out 1,100 applications, 1,100 applications. And he finally got a job that he accepted. Folks, it's a mess out there. And before you subject yourself to that mess, I want to inspire you. Get inspired, produce something, and let's help get you launched. Have yourselves a great day. I think I'm going to call it that. I was a little fired up this morning. Usually I'm a lot more diplomatic, but I just got to tell you, I just got to be blunt. I don't care about the shutdowns. I really don't care about the tariffs. And I saw the layoffs coming. The layoffs have been coming ever since the pandemic. Corporations got extremely greedy during the pandemic. Shutting the company down, shutting the warehouse down, and then having the nuts to give themselves bonuses at the end of the year. You've reduced revenue by 50%, but your profits are up because you sent all your people home on the government teat, and now you're going to give yourself a bonus? You see, those are the kinds of business ethics I don't have the patience for. And that's why I'm not corporately employed anymore. I think I'm emotionally unemployable. But I did find a way to get inspired, produce something, and grow something in the worst of times. Right in the middle of the recession, I grew Mañana No Mas. Right in the middle of the pandemic, I started to regrow Mañana No Mas because I got laid off from Suzuki. I started to regrow the agency in the middle of a pandemic. And now here we are. just a couple of years outside the pandemic, and Mañana No Mas pays for the house that this office is in. Folks, there is a way to do it. If you're tired of looking for a job, invent one. Invent the job. Let someone like me show you how. If you don't like me, find someone else in my space that does this stuff, and get some advice. Get some advice and get going. The sooner you get going, the sooner you're going to get on the pathway where you belong. Have yourself a good one. Enjoy the weekend. I know I came at you kind of hard for a Friday. Maybe when I calm down later, I'll come back and be nicer. But hey, let's just get her going.